Hi guys, my name is Kalika Mokwin and this is my walkaway video. I've been a Democrat my entire life. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008 and 2012 and I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I cried the night that Trump won. I couldn't eat for 3 days. I was depressed. It felt like a really bad breakup. And I spent the next 4 years voicing my opinion very loudly on Facebook, and to anyone that would listen about my dislike for Trump, I shared every negative article from Occupy Democrats to CNN and everything in between on him, and I got into it a lot of times with my Republican friends who, yes, I do have a lot of Republican friends and Democrat friends. I didn't ever belittle their view or opinion. I felt like I was pretty respectful, but I got into it with them and a lot of debates, and even though we disagreed on a lot of things, they never unfriended me. They never made me feel like I was less for having an opinion. They just kind of tried to educate me on their side of the view. And sometimes I would be open to it and listen, and a lot of times I wouldn't. Most of the time I just, as liberals typically do, I would just kind of shut down what they were saying or move on. So my first red flag with the Democrat Party came in 2018. My son was diagnosed with autism in 2017, and it led me down a whole rabbit hole of vaccines. And I know there is that question, do vaccines cause autism? For my son, we noticed this regression right after his MMR vaccine at a little over a year old. So that was either a coincidence or it was a vaccine injury. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I don't know the answer, but I question it. And when I expressed that on Facebook, when I said, hey, has anyone seen Vaxxed? Has anyone seen the truth about vaccines? What are your thoughts on this? My son was diagnosed with autism, and I think it might have a lot to do with his MMR vaccine. The way I was attacked was nothing like I'd experienced before, at least had not experienced like since high school. I was called a tin hat lady, I was called a science denier, I was called stupid, I was told to do my research, in which that's what I had been doing was my research, which is why I was questioning what I've been told. I feel like there's two different people in this life. There are people that just do everything they're told without questioning it, and there's people who actually question the status quo. So I was questioning the status quo, and for that, I was attacked. And really, I feel now that I was attacked not because they disagree with me, but they refuse to have their narrative challenged. That was threatening to them for me to come forward and say, hey, what you know and what you believe might be wrong. And for that, I was attacked. So that was strike one. And I got over it, and I continued my Trump rants all the way up until January, February of this year. Strike two for me were the lockdowns. I own a DJ management company, and at the end of February, even before we went into lockdown, I started getting a lot of canceled work. I had one DJ who lost over $10,000 in gigs for the month of March. I had another DJ who was booked for a cruise. The entire cruise got canceled. It was his work all summer. I had the casinos calling saying, hey, we have conventions canceled, so we need to cancel our lounge DJs for the whole month. So that was, there goes their work. And these guys have children to feed, they have bills to pay, they are solely dependent on this income. And I voiced my concern for this publicly. I was like, hey, does anyone else notice that the direction we're going in, things might shut down, people might lose work? Do we have a plan B in place for this? What's going to happen? And I was called selfish, I was called just horrible names, stupid, a bad person. I can't even count the amount of times I was called a terrible person for having compassion and caring about not so much myself, but about the people that I represent and I know that count on me and count on this work for income to survive. So that was really strike two for me. Strike three were the George Floyd protests. I had people who were a week before these protests started calling me a grandma killer for going to the pool with a couple of my friends while I had a mask on, for being so selfish to want to get some sun and some pool time in. These exact same people were then out in downtown Los Angeles in crowds of 60,000 people holding up signs with all of their friends. And I get the reason they're doing it. I'm not fucking stupid. I get it is for an important reason, but it doesn't make it any more fucking safe. And when I would tell them this, they'd be like, oh, well, you are selfish. You want to be at a pool party. We're doing it for social justice. Yes, I understand that. But you are telling me that COVID spreads when you are less than 6 feet from a person, and this is exactly what you're doing. So it's hypocritical. I'm sorry, however you want to cut it, It's freaking hypocritical. So that was strike 3 for me. Strike 4 was the cancel culture and censoring everything. I believe in the First Amendment. I believe in the power of your voice. I think it's so important. And now anything that you say, someone on the left will take it out of context and just abuse you for it. They will screenshot it. They'll send it to other people. They'll keep posting it on your post for till the end of time. They will try to get you fired. I own my own business. I've actually had people emailing the email on my business trying to get me fired, and the email comes to me, and it's like, wait, they wanted to get me fired for what? For that? Like, it wasn't even anything bad that I said. They just don't agree with it. They don't agree with it. So they will pick apart your words and make it fit their own narrative about what they don't like about you. So that was strike 4. Strike 5, I think strike 5, I don't know, at this point, who's even counting? It's been too much. Strike 5 was the schools. I have 2 little kids. They go to public schools. I want them around with their friends. I want them in class. Dr. Fauci had actually come forward and says there's no reason that the schools need to be closed. And I am seeing my friends that have kids that go to private schools with them doing in-person classes. So what I'm taking from this is if you have $15,000 a year per child and you can afford a private education, you are safe from COVID. But if you do not, or you do not want to pay this to send your child to a private school, you aren't safe from COVID and you're stuck at home with zero solution for working parents, for single moms. They're just telling us all to figure it out. And if you raise your voice that you're concerned about it, again, you're selfish. You will get shut down by the left. So those are all the reasons. That's at least 5 reasons I gave. There's just nothing left for me on the left at this point. I will be voting Republican for the first time this year. I was invited to join the Walkaway campaign, I believe, back in April, and I silently sat there reading everyone's testimonies. I've befriended a couple of you guys, and you've been great. I've been inspired by the testimonies, and I've been looking forward to doing this for a long time and contributing to it. So thank you, and I really hope that our country makes the right decision in November, and I will, for the first time, be voting for Donald Trump. Yes, hell is frozen over.